Good afternoon, it's Vanessa Baker here at Confetti Card Studio, trying not to chop my head off. Back with another live video, and hopefully I have sound. I'm just going to double check on my computer. Sorry about this, but I thought if I make sure at the beginning, then Okay, perfect. We're all set. So the plan for today is to case a card out of the catalogue, and it's actually in the catalogue they made it as a little square note card. So I've decided to upsize it to a regular size card, and I've got a few other things to tell you along the way. So we'll get started. Zoom in a bit there. Okay. So this is the card that we're going to make, and it's from the catalogue on page 46. You'll see there's a little square card there, and what I've done is sized it up to a normal sized card. And I wanted to show you, so sort of carrying on from our theme of last week, which was the measurements and how I do scaling up and up from imperial to metric. This time I just thought I'd show you how I do my cutting. So this is an A4 sheet of card. This might come out a wee bit so you can see. And when I'm creating, I tend to make two cards the same at once. So I'm just going to prepare my piece of A4 to make two card bases. So for my size, the card is 10.5 centimetres wide. So I've got it in my trimmer in, I guess, what you'd call the portrait position. And I'm just going to do the score line. So if I do this now, I get both scored at once. So I just make sure that it's at the top here at 11.5, and I can also check that at the bottom. And then I'm just going to use the scoring blade, and I tend to go up and then back so you get a nice score. Then I'm going to take the card out and turn it to the landscape position. And like I explained last week, our card size is a little bit strange. It's so the A4 measures 29.7 centimetres. So you've got your 0.7 is like half a millimetre. So I tend to line it up. It's around 14.9, 14.8, or somewhere in between the two to get half. And then this time I'm using my cutting blade, and I've got it across to my mark here, and then nice and firmly up against the top. So that ensures that I've got a straight edge. And then I just cut that, and now I have two card bases ready to go. Now, while I've got the trimmer out, I'll also show you with the paper. So what I want, it's spring here in New Zealand. We've just turned over on the 1st of September to springtime. And I thought this paper was sort of reminds me of wildflowers and sort of spring happening. And the one in the catalogue had the die-cut leaves up the side. So what I thought I would do is I wanted to use this side of my paper, because if I cut it here for my card front and then put my die cuts on, I'm sort of hiding most of that pattern, and it's that pattern that I wanted to feature. So what I did is I decided I'd use this side, and my measurement for this is 10 centimetres by 14.4. And what I did is I turned the card and put the 10 centimetre like backward, upside down. So when I cut it, I'm going to have this sort of empty space, I guess you'd call it, gap in the pattern on that side. So if I cut that at 10, you'll see I've now got that little dip and I can put my embellishments there, and I'm still making the most of the rest of the pattern. I hope that makes sense. And then I just trim the top to 14.4, and that's my number 1 layer to go on my card. Now I might just come back in a bit. Okay, so we'll just take one of our bases. So the other one, in this case, I'll put aside to use later. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is that I'm not using all of the same tools as what the sample in the catalogue used. So I bought this paper. It's called Thoughtful Journey. But I didn't buy the coordinating stamp set and dies. So for this example, I'm actually using a different different bundle, and it's called Textured Floral. So I already had this, and I just thought I would use these dies here to create a similar sort of look as to the one in the catalogue. And it's useful also to have the stamp set, which has a beautiful words, Birthday Blooms for You, which is very appropriate with a field of flowers, I thought. Right, so I'm going to attach I love this paper. It's got gorgeous patterns on both sides. And it's in a 6x6 pack. So it's really easy it's a bit easier to chop 6x6, I find, because it's not quite so large, I guess, to start with. I don't know, it's some sort of psychological thing. Okay, so now I've got my little stems and things. So I'm just going to attach those. This one is Wild Wheat, I love this colour. Not quite as probably summery as I like for this, spring-like, but it just coordinates so well. And this time I actually wanted to raise that up a bit higher. So I'm just gluing that down with some liquid glue. And my next piece is in Mossy Meadow, which again, I tried it with Old Olive, but this one just really, really goes with the darker greens in the paper. So I'm just putting this side where I'm holding it might end up a little bit off the page, so I'm not going to put too much glue on that side. Mainly put it, and I'm really just dotting it, and I don't tend to go right to the top. Okay, and then that one come down a little bit lower, so that one sticks up a bit more and we can see it. And I don't want to come off too much over the edge because then it doesn't fit in the envelope. And now here I've got a piece of, it's actually Highland Heather, but I thought, oh gosh, it just looks so sparkly and nice. I think we're celebrating spring, so let's have a bit of bling on there in the form of some glimmer paper. This comes in a pack of 3 colours called 3 Colour Glimmer. It's Highland Heather. Oh, I can't think of the other 2. Oh, it's just here actually. Pretty Peacock and Petal Pink. So they're all really pretty colours, and it's just a pack of beautiful glimmer paper. So again, I'm just dotting a bit of glue on the back, and this one we want it about there, I think. I don't know if you do that. You look at something in the catalogue and you think, oh gosh, I haven't got all those things, or I really love to make that, but I haven't got time for an order to come, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a matter of thinking outside the box and looking at what you do have. Okay, now this is the beautiful Petunia Pop ribbon that I'd sort of forgot I had, actually. I ordered it when I got the in colours and I haven't really used it yet. So it's having its first outing today. Just going to use some tear and tape, if I can find the end. Here it is. You can use glue dots, but I find it's quite good just to use the tape and just a couple of strips in different directions. And I'm just going to weave my ribbon across that. So I'll start over here. Again, you don't want to go too far off the page. And I'm just going back and forth through that glue. Just check that. I think that's about right, size-wise. And across into that one. And then you can, if you want to, it's looking like it's going to do it itself a little bit anyway, is just to fray the edges. So I just go in with my snips and just pull a few threads. I think in the catalogue, that the one they sampled, they had frayed it a bit more. But I think just the ends is good because a lot of the rest of it's covered up anyway. Sometimes you can pull a thread and it just comes out nicely, but other times it doesn't. But that looks quite good, I think. Right, and then I had something else I wanted to show you. The clear embossing powder. I don't know if you know, but you can use your normal inks with the clear powder to create that glossy embossed look. So I'll demonstrate that. This is Blackberry Bliss. So we just ink our stamp as normal. I'm using the Birthday Blooms for You. You stamp that down and then quickly, before it dries, I've just got my tub here of clear embossing powder. So I'm just applying the powder and tapping it off. Like so. Actually, I wonder if it just needs a bit more there. The powder will make it look sort of dull. But then when you heat that, I have one I've done here previously, you get a lovely glossy look to the words. And I just thought, sticking with our glittery theme and celebrating spring, that was quite appropriate. And I've cut that out with one of the circles from Stylish Shapes Dies. And I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. So I'm working out where my circle is not touching the ribbon, and that's where I'm going to put dimensionals. Little spot there. Oops. I always feel if it's just attached to the ribbon and the ribbon does come off, then you lose the words that you've put there. But if I've got two on the paper, that secures all of it down, and then I'll just put one on the back, which will end up on the ribbon. So I'm kind of covering all bases. And I want the words straight. There we go. To finish it off, I've got some blooming pearls. Again, I didn't have the the embellishments that they used on the sample one. So I've just found something in my stash that works. And I'm just putting 3. Sometimes I put a few more, but I think on a card where I'm wanting to showcase that beautiful paper and I've already got the glitter and the embossing, I think 3's enough. Now, I hadn't thought about an inner, so we'll just make something up now. So with cutting inners, I get 4 from one piece of basic white. Just move that out the way. And an inner is the same size as our card front, this layer 1, which is for metric. It's 14.4 by 10. So I know that my paper is 21 centimetres that way, so I know I'll get 2 10s from that direction. So you can cut that first. Go through there at 10 and then turn it and do 14.4. So that's 1, and then I'll just do the next one, 14.4. So I've now got 2 ready to go. And I can either keep that strip as it is or cut that into card bases as well. I'll just leave it as it is today. Okay, so we've got a few choices. We could use the offcut of our paper, like the reverse side or that side. Actually, that's really pretty, isn't it? I might do that, just down the side. So we could cut that into 2, and it could do both cards. What does that measure? That measures about 5. So if we go 2.5, that one's a bit wider. That doesn't matter though. Oops, we'll have to do the length as well because I didn't cut the length. So if we want it to go the full length, we do 14.4. And I'll take it off the sky so we get as much of the pretty flowers as possible.